Hi, my name is Amy Sandstrom-Hill. In the next 5 videos, I'm excited to share with you playful strategies, ideas, and a little science for raising children with play. My background: I am a licensed clinical social worker and registered play therapist. I graduated with my bachelor's from Northeastern University and my master's from Gallaudet University. When I began working with children in play therapy, I quickly learned that while counseling is important, the role of the parents is so much more impactful. I broadened my work to include family support and specifically to focus on the parent-child relationship. Over the last 5 years, this work has become more personal to me because I've had 2 children. They are my best teachers and most challenging students. My girls have taught me to see my work not only from a counselor's perspective, but to internalize it as a parent. Now, on my journey to learn more about enhancing the parent-child relationship, I have had many wonderful teachers and read many amazing books, articles, and research studies. There is an attached reference page with all the resources included in the 5 workshops. I also want to make sure to recognize some of the people whose work is included in my presentation: Gary Landreth, Sue Bratton, Dee Ray, Paris Goodyear Brown, Dan Siegel, Becky Bailey, and many others. I hope you enjoy watching. I hope you learned something beneficial, something helpful in the next 5 videos. Thank you. Building the parent-child relationship. I want you to imagine a donut, the most delicious donut. Think about what it looks like. Maybe it's chocolate. Maybe it has frosting and sprinkles. Maybe it's a simple plain donut perfect with coffee. You notice the smell. You notice the size, big or small. You notice the decorations on top. What we do not focus on is the whole. What's missing? This same concept applies to our relationship with our children. We want most of our time and attention to recognize our children's strengths, skills, and abilities. We do not want to focus on the problem. It can be hard as parents when we are struggling with behavior, meltdowns, and big emotions. But at the same time, it's even more important to realize that is not the only quality of the child. There are so much more, many positive qualities. We want to focus on the donut, the positive, the beautiful, and not the whole. In developing the parent-child relationship, one of the best things you can do is give your child the gift of time. Time together is what builds attachment, respect, security, love, the foundation for a healthy parent-child relationship. It may seem like common sense, but one of the most powerful tools parents have is to schedule 30 minutes of individual uninterrupted play with your child. Kids often struggle to talk through their stress, problems, emotions. This is hard for adults to do. And an inappropriate expectation we often put on our children. Play is important to children because it is the most natural way children communicate. Toys are like words for children, and play is their language. Adults talk about their experiences, thoughts, and feelings. Children use toys to explore their experiences and express what they think and how they feel. For 30 minutes each week, the child is the center of the parent's universe. Children are expected to comply with adults at home, staff at school, and in general social interactions. In special playtime, the children are empowered to make decisions, problem solve for themselves, and be creative. In this special playtime, the parent creates an accepting relationship in which a child feels completely safe to express himself through his play. Fears, likes, dislikes, wishes, anger, loneliness, joy, or feelings of failure. This is not a typical playtime. It is a special playtime in which the child leads and the parent follows. In this special relationship, there are no reprimands, put-downs, evaluations, requirements, like to draw pictures a certain way, etc., judgments about the child or his play as being good or bad, right or wrong. When children experience a play relationship in which they feel accepted, understood, and cared for, they play out many of their problems and, in the process, release tensions, feelings, and burdens. Your child will then feel better about themselves and will be able to discover their own strengths and assume greater self-responsibility as they take charge of play situations. How children feel about themselves will make a significant difference in their behavior. In the special play times where you learn to focus on your child rather than your child's problem, your child will begin to react differently. Because how your child behaves, how they think, and how they perform in school are directly related to how they feel about themselves. What will parents do during the play sessions? They will reflect the child's behaviors, thoughts, needs, wishes, and feelings. The parent follows the child's lead by showing keen interest and carefully observing the child's play without making suggestions or asking questions, and by actively joining in the play when invited by the child. The parent's major task is to empathize with the child, to understand the child's thoughts, feelings, and intent expressed in play. Parents will work hard to see and experience the child's play through the child's eyes. I want to encourage you to read a cute picture book called Not a Box by Antoinette Portis. It's a kid's picture book. There's a bunny, and inside there's a brown box. And their parents looking at the box thinking, "What are you doing with this box?" And the bunny looks up and says, "No, it's not a box." And then on the next page you see it's a rocket or a boat, like a pirate ship. But every time the parent thinks, "Oh, you're playing with a box," they don't see what the child dreams up and imagines. It's great. It uses black lines to show the parent's perspective, and then it has red lines showing the child what they're imagining. And it's a great story to help us understand that sometimes parents, we become stuck in reality and we forget all the beautiful things that kids imagine, everything they're using their imagination for. It was a great reminder for me when I read the story with my daughter. It helped me to remember to see things from her perspective and through her eyes. I would encourage you, parents, as you read stories and you're discussing it with your children, they like to use their imagination. Maybe go ahead and try to imagine with them. You don't need toys or things. You can use simple things, paper, crayons, or nothing at all. Just have imaginative play. Really, this book is great for all ages, even those who are very young. There are no big words, and you don't have to have the understanding of a plot. I mean, I think anywhere from the age of 2 all the way up to high school would enjoy this story. It's great. To communicate your understanding to children, Parents must adopt the be with attitudes. Parents communicate the message, I am here, I understand, and I care. This does not mean I always agree, I must make you happy, or I will solve all your problems. How do parents communicate this understanding to the child? They describe what the child is doing, reflect what the child is saying while they're playing, and most importantly, recognize and reflect what the child is feeling while they're playing. I would like to close with one last strategy. What's most important may not be what you do, but what you do after what you did. We are certain to make mistakes, but we can recover. It is how we handle our mistakes that make the difference. Recently, I went with my 5-year-old and her grandmother to the Lego store. We were celebrating her dance recital that morning. I knew that she was tired and already highly emotional. She had cried earlier in the day, before the show, with a bad case of stage fright. Now it is late in the afternoon. She is hungry, tired, and emotionally worn out. Her grandmother wants to buy her a new Lego set to bring home. She is struggling to decide between 2 different sets, the Princess Castle or the Mario Castle. She begins to whine, pull on my arm, and lay on the floor, unable to decide. I am also tired and ready to go home. I respond in frustration and tell her to stop. She looks at me and says, Mom, it is okay to feel frustrated, but it is not okay to yell. A sentence I have told her many times. We took a moment and stepped out of the store. After taking some deep breaths together, I apologized for yelling. When I calmed down, she was able to co-regulate and calm down as well. Once in this state, Allie was easily able to identify which Lego she wanted. Her grandmother bought it, and we went home. As parents, we make mistakes and emotionally charged responses to our kids daily. It's learning to repair and recover that models healthy relationships for our children. So remember, what's most important may not be what you do, but what you do after what you did. Thank you.